Hey guys, Fletch here, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another Fletch Talks video. The piece couldn't last for long, could it? After this week of a European Super League that seemed to be with United fans, it was an incredible sight to watch, but of course today the piece was kind of broken when AFTV and TalkSport once again clash, and we're going to be talking about the Robbie versus Ray Parlour thing in just a moment. But before we do, we'd like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's go back to talking about this TalkSport versus AFTV thing, because this went down today. It's the fallout to the collapse of the European Super League, and you know, it's been an absolute crazy week for everybody involved. It's been absolute insanity this past week. The fallout, the aftermath and the backlash of those plans falling through have led to, you know, fans revolting against the owners that have betrayed every single fan of the Premier League's big top six. And, you know, all those fans want those billionaires gone, and rightfully so. Like, a Liverpool fan, want FSG out because of the way that they treated the club, treated the community, treated the football community as well, not just the community outside of Anfield and just Liverpool in general, but everything in between. I want them gone. I know every single fan wants them gone. There's protests. There has been protests. There's even a protest planned for tonight for the Arsenal versus Everton game just before that. There's going to be a lot more fallout to this. They want fan power back within the club, and it's 100% understandable and justifiable as to why they want that, because otherwise things like this, or maybe even the exact same thing, may happen again in the not too distant future once the dust has settled, and maybe next time the result may not be the same and it may actually go through, or something worse could happen to football. And just while we're on the subject of the Super League, by the way, just a quick word on Florentino Perez. He's still convinced that this could go ahead still. He said plans were on standby and not completely off the table. And like, you know, I admire the guy's persistence. I admire the guy's resilience that he wants to get this thing in motion. He wants to get this thing into fruition and into reality. But come on, bro. Seriously. Take the L and move on, bro. Like, you're even getting... get even richer quick scheme, or whatever the hell this was, to try and shift Real Madrid's large debt. Get even richer quick scheme or whatever. It failed. You tried to get rid of Real Madrid's debt or pay some of it off or whatever in the quickest way possible, and it failed. Just take some responsibility, move on, because you didn't have football's best interest at heart. You definitely didn't have fans' best interests at heart, and you can try and spin it any way you want in a number of ways. You can bring out these weird arguments about young fans not being interested and football losing its competitive edge and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, you underestimated the power that the fans had, and maybe it's time you called it a day in the position you're in right now. Just saying. But you know what was truly amazing to watch and witness this week? And it was kind of amazing because there was a lot of good in the bad. You had the bad talk of the European Super League, but what was good about it was the fact that everybody put their differences aside and kind of united and tried to work together to fight against these proposed plans. Rival fans, regardless of who you supported and the location of your team and other teams and historic rivalries and so on and so forth, just banded together. Players and managers united. And okay, some of them may have had self-interest at heart, but many media outlets were also on the same page as the fans here in this instance, all uniting to fight against these plans, these proposed European Super League plans. But of course, as we all see, nothing lasts forever, and this week the peace that was broken. Today we've seen another battle of new media and old media as AFTV and TalkSport once again clashed over the interests of the Arsenal owners and the aftermath of the European Super League, in which of course the Arsenal owners, Stan Kroenke, was a big player and a big mastermind behind the formation of these proposed plans. The story here is that Robbie of AFTV, the founder of AFTV, was going on to TalkSport to talk about fans' protests against Stan Kroenke. He was talking about the ownership, where they go from here, fans' movement, that kind of thing. And instead, well, Ray Parlour managed to somehow turn it into a bit of a rant about AFTV capitalising on Arsenal's downfall for views and, of course, monetary gain. Where this came from, no idea. And I'm sure it's a criticism that, you know, Robbie gets all the time. I'm sure it's a criticism that Robbie's kind of used to by now, even though it's not true. People often say that AFTV wouldn't be as big as what it is right now if Arsenal hadn't gone through that sort of downward spiral, those tough times, those bad times. And I guess in some ways, you know, there is an element of truth to that. I don't doubt that AFTV would be a big part of the football fan movement, regardless of Arsenal's stature in the past few years. I still see AFTV would have still been a big part in this football fan movement, regardless of whether Arsenal were good and winning Premier League and Champions League titles or not, into the team that we've known them for the past several years. But and you know, Robbie as well does a lot of work behind the cameras as well. He doesn't just interview people, he does a lot of work behind the cameras, creates different things, got lots of different ideas buzzing and so on and so forth. So I highly doubt that AFTV would be a minor channel like what mine is right now. But we've both got the same goal, same intention to keep growing, getting more involved in the football community, and that's what we're both aiming to do. And of course, Robbie is a massive part of that right now. So to attack him basically for being an embarrassment, not being real fans, capitalising on Arsenal's failure, seems a bit of a stretch. But the fact that Parlour went on to change the subject so quickly and turn it into a personal attack on Robbie, on the platform he created, a platform which, by the way, interestingly enough, he has featured on a video for them at some point down the line. A video is out there, it features Ray Parlour giving his opinion on Arsenal. So Parlour actually did attack something that he's been a part of for no real legitimate or no real good reason. Just shows the kind of hypocrisy behind it all. Because football fans watch for the entertainment side in order to banter rival fans. Football itself is entertaining. The bit that's afterwards with the fans involved and everything, we talk about it, we discuss it. It's for entertainment value because we sometimes banter. We can have serious debate and throw in a bit of banter in there in the meantime. It's just something that goes part and parcel with it and goes along with the football side. It's banter. It goes along with it. I banter some of my friends who are Chelsea fans, Tottenham fans, Man United fans, Everton fans, and they banter at me back when time allows it. It just happens. I'm sure AFTV get a few more eyes on the content when Arsenal lose, I'm sure. But even when they win, people still enjoy the product and still have a certain understanding and respect for what Robbie is trying to do. The hypocrisy in this instance is that Ray Parlour has stood up something out of nothing for views and to get eyes on his own product and on him. AFTV, the biggest football fan channel on YouTube, going on TalkSport, with all due respect, has been kind of a radio show, a has-been sort of media outlet, fan forum, whatever. It would be easy to stir up some controversy on that and get football fans talking, right? Like exactly what I'm doing with this video, I guess. But the fact is, this isn't the first time that AFTV and TalkSport have clashed in the past. TalkSport's Simon Jordan and Jim White had a bit of a run-in with Robbie over a year ago. They attacked the characters that appear on his platform. They attacked the content again and accused Robbie of being an embarrassment and giving Arsenal a bit of a bad name. Stuff I'm sure that he's heard over and 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 over before. Stuff that I'm sure he's probably laughed off at because it just simply is not true. The fact is, Robbie has found a way for football fans to give a voice out there, to get a voice out there and an opinion out there into an era of football which right now, whether it comes from journalistic platforms that obviously give out news, or whether it comes from the football clubs that themselves, football fans just simply don't get heard enough and don't get listened to enough. And he's been a front runner in making changes to making that happen. And it's because of this that many people are turning off of places like TalkSport, They don't want to listen to it anymore because there's new media out there. There's new, more entertaining and more real and genuine media out there in the form of YouTube, in the forms of guys like Robbie, in forms of guys like DT, who went on to make his name at AFTV and has gone on to make his own channel, make his own football team, so on and so forth. The Football Terrace is another big football forum. The United Stand with Mark Goldbridge. Again, all of these guys have all created something and are all part of a massive football community which is growing by the day, and something that I wish to be more and more a part of going forward. It's just simply for the reason that you don't get restricted. You don't get guys that are basically putting their finger in the air, swirling it around and seeing which way the wind blows in order to give their opinions of the day based on whichever way the wind is blowing. It's genuine, it's unfiltered, it's real. It just is so real. You get real football fans whose opinions matter more than anybody else's. And despite like TalkSport being on YouTube now and some other media outlets being on YouTube, they simply don't get it. They don't get the characters that you see on a daily basis on those channels. They don't understand why it's so big. They don't understand why these people who are uneducated, I guess you'd say, because they haven't gone to college to get journalistic degrees and whatever, are allowed to do this kind of thing on this platform and be more successful at it than they are. And it all boils down to this point that I'm going to reiterate. It's the fact that this week was an incredible sight to watch everybody clubbing together to try and overthrow these greedy and selfish billionaire owners. And dividing that, which is what TalkSport probably attempted to do here, dividing that by attacking a group of loyal, die-hard fans wasn't the best thing to do, was it? Especially when their content wasn't being put under the microscope. It was about the owners of the club and the week we had just been through. That was the subject of the debate. The owners that were that were one of the founding members and the creators behind the mastermind of this European Super League. That was the subject at hand, but you turned it into something it wasn't, to try and divide people, to try and divide fans again. And what you'll see going forward is that fan channels and fans will continue to try and do what's right for their club. They'll continue to try and keep this fan movement going, to try and get some sort of fan power back into the clubs that they support and that they love. And these media outlets, well, they may try and press the brakes a little bit. They may try and push the brakes on this whole thing. They may say, we've done what we've needed to do. The fans will continue. We'll just go over here with our shiny new thing and play with that for a bit. It's sad, but I can see that honestly happening going forward. But as I always say, these are the thoughts, comments, opinions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. I will drop the link in the video description for the video that I'm obviously talking about, so you can go and see it for yourself. Not that I condone promoting TalkSport, especially because I genuinely don't know where they get their callers in sometimes. Those callers come in with some of the most outrageous opinions, some of the most crazy, bizarre opinions. And, you know, I don't really follow it, but again, the hypocrisy side of it is that I only notice TalkSport whenever they do have a guy who's on there raging, and it honestly makes me think that it's kind of fixed. So I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions on this AFTV versus TalkSport thing, this old media versus new media kind of thing, fan media against journalistic media, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, whatever you want to call it, down in the comment section below, because I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content. I did both things, but always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.